In this video, we shall be discussing about gestational age assessment of a newborn baby. Now, gestational age assessment has two important components: physical examination or physical assessment and neurological assessment. Each of these components has 6 variables within them. Overall, there are multiple systems for assessing the gestational age, out of which the commonest system that is used is the Extended New Ballard Scoring System, which is also called as ENBS, which includes 6 parameters of physical assessment and 6 parameters of neurological examination. There are various other such systems which include only parameters of physical assessment, or some have only parameters in the neurological assessment. Now, let us do Extended New Ballard Scoring for this baby. So, we will begin with the physical assessment, which has 6 components: skin, lanugo hair, plantar surface, breast nodule, eye or ear examination, and the external genitalia. So, we will begin with the first parameter, which is skin. Now, the skin is assessed by stretching the skin usually over the anterior abdominal wall. In a preterm baby, the skin will appear translucent or transparent. You may see visible veins and it might look pink and friable. Whereas the more mature the baby gets, the skin becomes more and more dry, and you may even see wrinkled or parchment-like skin in a post-term baby. In this particular baby, we would classify the skin as having superficial peeling and mild rash that is present with very few visible veins. If you see more visible veins, then that makes the skin more preterm. So, this particular parameter skin is scored from 0 until 5. This is one of the 2 parameters in Ballard scoring that has a score of 5. Most other parameters have a maximum score of 4. So, skin is scored from shiny and transparent skin, which gets a score of -1, to leathery, cracked and wrinkled skin, which gets a score of 5. So, this baby's skin scoring would fall under the score of 2. Now, coming to the next parameter, which is lanugo hair. Lanugo hair is the thin hair that is present over the shoulder blades of the baby, which you can appreciate here, and over the anterior part of the chest. So, the lanugo hair is a special type of hair that is exclusively seen in newborn babies and generally tends to fall off over the first few days of postnatal life. And based on lanugo hair, maturity is rated as -1 to 4 based on no lanugo hair that is seen in preterm babies. As the baby becomes more and more mature, we see more and more abundant lanugo hair. And eventually, when the baby is full term, we may start seeing bald areas where there may be absent lanugo hair. This baby has good abundant lanugo hair that is present over the shoulder blades as well as over the chest. Hence, this baby will get a score of 1 for lanugo hair. The next parameter in physical assessment is the assessment of the breast bud. The breast bud is generally assessed based on 2 parameters. One is the width of the breast nodule when we palpate the nodule with our 2 fingers, and the second is the presence of areolar stippling. So, you will be able to see fine stippling that is present over the areola. So, there must be these 2 parameters that are assessed: the width of the breast nodule when palpated between the fingers and the presence of areolar stippling. So, from preterm to term, the breast nodule will change from imperceptible, barely perceptible breast nodule to a more and more visible areola, which will become increasing in width from 1.2 millimeters to 5 to 10 millimeters in a full term baby, and there is also increasing stippling of the areola. In this baby, the breast nodule will be 3 to 4 millimeters in the transverse width, and there is no areolar stippling. The next parameter that is assessed is the eyes as well as the ears. In eyes, especially in an extremely preterm baby, we can give a score of -2 if the eyelids are tightly fused and -1 if it is loosely fused. As the baby becomes more and more mature, the eyelids remain open, and we use the formation of the ear cartilage as well as the recoil for the scoring of the maturity. So, for assessment of elastic recoil, one crumples the ear cartilage and then releases it. This baby has an instant recoil of the ear cartilage. So as the baby becomes more and more mature, the pinna would appear to be well curved, well formed cartilage with instant recoil. So in this particular baby, we have well curved pinna which is soft but it has ready recoil. So the baby gets a score of 2. Coming to the next aspect, which is the plantar surface. So when it comes to the plantar surface, we assess the length of the foot, right, starting from the heel to the edge of the plantar surface. This again gets a score of -2 if the length itself is less than 40 mm, -1 if the length is between 40 to 50 mm. In a more mature baby, the length of the plantar surface will be more than 50 mm, and hence we use the presence of the transverse ridges or markings across the plantar surface for assessing the baby's maturity. So for assessing the markings, one has to stretch the skin over the plantar surface using the 2 fingers, thumb and the index finger, and those markings across the palm which are still visible are considered to be significant plantar surface markings. In this baby, we can see markings across the anterior 1/3 surface of the foot after stretching, and the length of the foot is more than 50 mm. So, based on the presence of the ridges across the plantar surface, maturity is graded from 0 to 4 based on the presence of no red marks or faint red marks, and in a more mature baby, we will have plantar creases that occupy the entire sole, versus in a less mature baby like this baby, the plantar surface would only occupy the anterior 1/3 of the foot. So this as well as ears and eyes have a marking or scoring of -2, which might be more relevant for a baby who is less than 28 weeks. The last aspect of physical examination is the external genitalia. External genitalia is said to be the most reliable physical parameter that is used for gestational age assessment. So in a male infant, the following parameters are assessed. Whether both the testes are descended, in this particular baby both testes are descended, the presence of scrotal rugosity, again this baby has presence of adequate scrotal rugosity, and whether the testes are looking pendulent, and the presence of pigmentation over the scrotal skin. These 3 parameters are assessed. Whether the testes are descended, presence of scrotal rugosities and pigmentation over the scrotal skin. More mature the baby would be, both testes would be descended, whereas testes would be undescended in a preterm baby. Scrotal pigmentation and rugosity are also more well developed when the baby is more and more mature. So in a post-term baby, you may find pendulous looking scrotum, both testes well descended into the sac with adequate rugosity as well as pigmentation. In a female baby, the assessment of external genitalia involves assessing whether the labia majora and minora are well formed, which means in a more mature baby, the labia majora would be completely covering the labia minora, and whether the clitoris is prominent. Clitoris will be more prominent in an immature baby. It becomes lesser and lesser prominent in a term or more mature baby. So in a full term mature newborn, we will find that the labia majora are completely encompassing the labia minora and the clitoris is not seen prominently. This parameter is slightly influenced on whether the baby is having intrauterine growth restriction. So even in a full term intrauterine growth restricted female newborn, we will find that the clitoris may be prominent and labia minora might be exposed because of the lack of fat over the mons pubis. So with this, we have completed the 6 physical parameters, which include assessment of skin by stretching over the anterior abdominal wall, assessment of the lanugo hair, which evolves from absent lanugo hair to abundant lanugo hair and again becomes balded areas in a full-term baby, assessment of the eyes as well as the ear cartilage, where eyes would be tightly fused in an extremely preterm baby, and there would be more and more instant recoil of the ear cartilage in a full-term baby. Then we saw assessment of the breast nodule, wherein we look at whether the breast bud is perceptible and whether the diameter or the width increases to more than 5 millimeters in a term baby, and the presence of areolar stippling. The plantar surface, both the length of the plantar surface as well as the presence of transverse creases across the plantar surface, which will extend more and more over the entire sole in a full-term baby. And finally, the assessment of external genitalia. So these 6 parameters complete the assessment of physical examination of gestational age assessment. So let us begin the neurological part of the assessment of gestational age, which has 6 parameters. The posture, which is a measure of passive tone. We have 3 measures in the upper limb, the scarf sign, square window and arm recoil, and 2 angles in the lower limb, popliteal angle and heel to ear sign. Let's see them one by one. Now look at this baby's posture. Posture is always commented after we remove a boundary or nest which is around the baby, because this can lead to unnecessary flexion of the limbs and can lead to over assessment of tone, and also ensure that the baby's head is in midline in order to avoid asymmetric tonic neck reflex or ATNR. ATNR can lead to increase in the extensor tone on the side the baby's face is turned to, both in the upper limb and the lower limb, and baby develops what is called as a fencer's or archer's position, and there can be increase in the flexor tone on the opposite side. So this baby, if you can see, has some dorsiflexion of the ankles, there is partial flexion at the knees, and there is not much flexion or adduction in the hips. The baby is intermittently going into hip flexion. When it comes to upper limbs, the baby is having flexion and adduction at the level of the shoulder and partial flexion at the level of the elbows. Tone increases from the caudocephalic direction. So if you see a baby who is below 28 weeks, there is complete extension of the whole body and all the upper limbs and the lower limbs would be completely flaccid or extended. As the baby's maturity increases from 28 weeks, there is progressive flexion, dorsiflexion involving the ankle. Later, there is flexion of the knees and later hip flexion. Simultaneously, when hip flexion begins, there is progressive upper limb flexion as well as adduction at the level of the shoulder so that the baby brings the hands close to the body. And once the baby's maturity crosses 34 weeks, you will find that the hips go into more and more adduction. So there is increasing adduction at the hip joint and there is more increase in the flexion of the peripheries, both the hands as well as the feet. So you will find physiological hypertonia in a baby who is around 40 weeks. It is important to note that babies below 34 weeks have some degree of hip flexion, but they may have 0 or very mild adduction leading to a frog-like posture like this. So if you see a posture like this, wherein the baby has flexion both at the knee as well as at the hip joint, wherein the knees are slightly above the level of the hip joint, but there is no adduction, the hips is still abducted, then this is called as frog-like posture, which corresponds to a baby who is below 34 weeks. So in this baby, the tone assessment would put the baby's gestational assessment at around 34 weeks. Now coming to the next parameter in neurological assessment, which is the scarf sign. So the scarf sign is used to assess the tone, passive tone of the shoulder girdle. So for doing this, ensure that the baby's head is in the midline, suspend or hold the baby's palm and then slightly nudge the hand towards the opposite shoulder. So try to bring the palm against the opposite shoulder, making sure one doesn't lift the elbow. So never lift the elbow while doing the scarf sign. Then we will get over assessment of the tone. So without lifting the elbow, gently bring this palm after the baby settles down. Now the baby is trying to vigorously move the limbs. So once the baby settles, gently try to nudge this palm towards the opposite shoulder. And note the position of the ipsilateral elbow. So this is the elbow. So comfortably without stretching the shoulder, I am only able to bring the elbow until this point. So based on this landmark, which is the ipsilateral elbow, we can classify the tone, whether the elbow reached only the ipsilateral axilla, ipsilateral nipple line, or did the elbow reach the xiphoid process, or did it cross the midline to reach the opposite nipple line, or sometimes even the opposite axilla. So lesser the maturity, more the baby would be hypotonic. More will be hypotonia involving the shoulder girdle, which will allow the elbow to cross the midline. So usually, if you see that the scarf sign permits the elbow, ipsilateral elbow to cross the midline, then the baby is going to be more premature, possibly a baby who is less than 30 or 32 weeks. So in this baby, we were only able to bring the elbow to the ipsilateral nipple line.